What's up guys, and welcome back to another video here on B-Mills Wrestling. In today's video, I'm going to be predicting who I think will dethrone every current champion in the WWE. The last time that I did this type of video was right before WrestleMania, so since then we have seen a ton of title changes, so I figured we would do an updated version for today's video. Before we get into the video, if you guys are not already, make sure to subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on post notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And don't forget to leave a like down below. Alright guys, let's get into this video. The first champion we are going to be talking about is the undisputed WWE champion, John Cena. Now when I did this video before WrestleMania, Cody Rhodes was the champion and I did predict that John Cena would be the one to dethrone him. And I was right. John Cena would go on to win his 17th World Championship at WrestleMania by defeating Cody Rhodes. Now the question is, who takes the title off of John Cena? Well, I think it goes right back into the hands of Cody Rhodes. I think Cody Rhodes will become a two-time WWE champion by dethroning John Cena, and I think it's going to happen at SummerSlam. Obviously, they're setting up this rematch. I would be very surprised if it didn't happen at SummerSlam. I think Cody Rhodes is going to win the King of the Ring tournament. Realistically, I think it's just him or Sami Zayn, the only two realistic guys to win it. I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think he'll earn his title shot against John Cena at SummerSlam, and I think he will regain his title then. The next champion we're going to be talking about is the World Heavyweight Champion, and that is now Gunther. Now, the video that I did before WrestleMania predicting who I think would dethrone each champion, the champion was Gunther also. I said that Jey Uso would dethrone him at WrestleMania, and that did happen. Jey Uso did dethrone Gunther. But now, Gunther has reclaimed his championship from Jey Uso on a recent episode of Monday Night Raw. So now the question is, who defeats Gunther for the World Championship now? And I had a really tough time with this one. I think there's a lot of strong candidates. There's three guys that I think have a great chance at beating Gunther for that World Championship, because I ultimately do think Gunther will be a transitional champion. I think he's going to drop the belt at SummerSlam. I think the three possible choices are LA Knight, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. Now, I think that Sami Zayn, obviously, I wouldn't want to see Sami Zayn take the title from Gunther, just because we saw Sami and Gunther at WrestleMania 40. Sami beat him. We saw it recently when Gunther was world champion. Obviously, Gunther retained that title. I really don't want to see them run this match again. Now, their matches are pretty good. I'm not going to lie. Unlike Gunther and Jey Uso, they actually have some good chemistry in the ring. But we've seen this story play out a couple times now. And I don't want it to happen at the biggest event of the summer, being SummerSlam. I think that's ridiculous. But I think this is a possibility, because I could see Sami Zayn winning the King of the Ring tournament because it is in Saudi Arabia, and they've obviously been teasing a push for Sami Zayn for him to get his hands on the first world title. I could see LA Knight being the one to take that title, because a lot of people are very mad that LA Knight did not win the Money in the Bank briefcase. They think he deserves that push, that he should have been getting that world title push for the last 3 years, and just hasn't received it. So I could see a world where we do get an LA Knight Gunther match at SummerSlam. I don't think we've ever seen that match play out in WWE. Comment down below, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would be actually down for that feud. I think that's a good feud. We can get a lot of good storylines, good promos, stuff like that. I would just love to see those two go right at it on the mic. But I don't know if that's really that realistic. And then there's Seth Rollins, who obviously has that briefcase. He's the guy that changes everything. He's the wild card, because he can cash in anytime he wants. So I don't think Seth Rollins is going to cash in on Gunther, because I don't think they're going to do heel on heel. So the way I think this plays out is either Sami Zayn or LA Knight takes the title from Gunther at SummerSlam, and then Seth Rollins cashes in, because I think a lot of fans would be even more pissed about that. Sami Zayn finally wins his first world title that he gets cashed in on. Similar to the story of Daniel Bryan back in 2014, they could do something like that. Same thing with LA Knight. LA Knight wins his first title. He finally gets into the main event scene, and then it's just taken from him by Seth Rollins. I think that would be a good storyline as well. But if you're asking me who I would rather have dethrone Gunther for the world title, it would be LA Knight. The next champion we're going to be talking about is the Intercontinental Champion, Dominic Mysterio. I also predicted before WrestleMania that he would be the one to dethrone Braun Breaker for that IC title. Dom's reign, obviously, as IC champion hasn't been too good. They haven't put him into enough storylines and feuds. We thought we were going to get that storyline with AJ Styles. They pulled away from it. I don't know what they're doing with Dom right now. But I had a really hard time picking out who was going to dethrone him. Obviously, I think a lot of people's easy answer is Finn Balor, because you know the turn is coming soon, and you know eventually Finn is going to get that one-on-one match for the IC title. I don't think Finn's the right choice to take the title. I'd much rather see Finn get back into the main event scene, become a babyface, and go after world titles. I don't really want to see Finn hold the IC title. I think that Dom needs to continue to grow and develop as a champion, and I don't think having a veteran like Finn Balor take the title off of Dom, I don't think that's too smart. So, like I said, I had a really tough time figuring out who could realistically beat Dom for the championship. I was thinking about Penta because I would love to see Penta win some gold in WWE, but they obviously already feuded and they've been feuding for like a couple months now, so I don't really think that would make too much sense. I would pray to God it's not Rey Mysterio, just because they love throwing Rey and a Dom into feuds every year. I think that would be dumb. I don't think they would do that though. So like I said, really tough time. But the one name that I came down to, and as of right now, it probably seems crazy, but it's Ilya Dragunov. I think Ilya Dragunov is coming back soon. We know there's a fourth mystery opponent in the Fatal 4-Way for the King of the Ring tournament next week on Raw. I think that is going to be Ilya Dragunov, and he will make his return after suffering that torn ACL last year. I think he comes back. I think he gets a massive ovation, and I think they try to push him right into that mid-card team because I think he's perfect for the mid-card. The mid-card needs guys like Ilya Dragunov, and I would love to see Dragunov get his hands on singles gold in WWE because he is one of the better young talents that WWE has. Obviously, Braun Breaker is the star that they have, but Ilya Dragunov, he's a damn star too. He just suffered a crappy injury so young into his career, but I would love to see this happen. Like I said, these two don't have like too much history with each other, but Ilya Dragunov winning that IC title off of Dom doesn't necessarily hurt Dom because you're giving it to another young superstar. You're not burying Dom by giving it to a veteran like Finn Balor. So I would absolutely love if Ilya Dragunov was the one to dethrone Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. Moving on to the next mid-card champion for the men's division, that is Jacob Fatu, the current United States champion. I had another tough time with Jacob Fatu because I don't think anybody should be pinning Jacob Fatu one-on-one for that title. I don't think it should be Solo Sikoa. I don't think Solo makes sense to be the first guy to pin Jacob in WWE. I don't think he's been built high enough for that. I just wouldn't find that believable. Jacob Fatu is the more over star. I think when they do eventually have their match for the title, it'll probably be at SummerSlam. Jacob Fatu must go over, in my opinion. So obviously that leads to a lot of questions. Who will be the one to take the title off Fatu if it's not Solo Sikoa? Well, I think he should drop the title in the way that Braun Breaker did at WrestleMania. Braun Breaker lost the title in a Fatal 4-Way where he didn't have to get pinned, so they ultimately took the title off him, but also protected him. WWE loves to do that with superstars like Braun Breaker. So I think Jacob Fatu is another guy that fits right into that description. I think no matter when it is, whether we get all the way to WrestleMania, if it's SummerSlam, I don't think it would be SummerSlam, just a PLE in between, I think that he drops it in a multi-man match, probably like a triple threat, a Fatal 4-Way, who knows, maybe even a damn ladder match. And I think he should drop this title to Carmelo Hayes. I think Carmelo Hayes has been due for that U.S. Championship. I wanted him to be the one to dethrone LA Knight originally. Then we saw it to go to Shinsuke. Then it went back to LA Knight. Now it's on Jacob Fatu. Carmelo Hayes, in my opinion, he needs this so much. They've been giving all the other young NXT call-ups all the gold. Tiffany Stratton, Money in the Bank winner. Now she's women's champion. Lara Valkyria, first Intercontinental champion. Somebody else I'm missing right now. But they're just not doing a good enough job with Carmelo Hayes. I just feel like he needs to get his hands on this U.S. title. I feel like he would be a perfect champion. I feel like it would just take him to the next level. But knowing WWE, they don't really like to push this guy or put him into anything interesting. So I don't know if this will actually happen. But I would love to see Carmelo Hayes be the one to take the title from Jacob Fatu in a multi-man match. Moving on to the next champion on this list, it is the WWE Women's Champion, and that is Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, obviously a Money in the Bank winner. She cashed in on Nia Jax on an episode of Friday Night SmackDown to become the champion, and she has had a pretty long title reign at this point. Not sure how many days we're going on, but she's had a pretty lengthy reign. I do expect it to come to an end at SummerSlam, though, and I think that this can get really hectic. My prediction is that Jade Cargill will probably win Queen of the Ring. I feel like it's her or Stephanie Vaquer, in my opinion. Either way, I'm cool with that. I think she wins that, and we get Jade versus Tiffany at SummerSlam. Two very over female superstars within the WWE that WWE is obviously trying to push. I think that's the match they go with at SummerSlam, and then I think that either Jade, she wins, she beats Tiffany clean for the title, or Naomi cashes in on Tiffany for the championship. Either way, I think Naomi will cash in at SummerSlam. Whether that's Tiffany or during the match, Tiffany retaining, or Jade winning the title, no matter what it is, I think Naomi is the next WWE Women's Champion. And even before WrestleMania, when I made this video, I said that Naomi would be the one to beat Tiffany Stratton for that championship. But that was obviously long before she even won the Money in the Bank briefcase. Obviously, long before she's gotten any sort of push. So I think honestly that is probably my best prediction that's going right now, and I think that it's going to be true because I do think Naomi will be the next WWE Women's Champion. Moving on to the next Women's World Champion, that is Io Sky. Now I had a tough one with Io Sky because I'm thinking about the names like Rhea Ripley, who's obviously always around the world title picture. I'm thinking about Liv Morgan. They've been teasing a lot with Liv and Io going at it again. I'm not sure I would love to see Liv win the title again. She obviously is a tag champ. We're going to get to those tag titles soon. But I had a really tough time with this because similarly to Dominic Mysterio, they just have not built her title reign enough. They haven't put her into enough feuds. We haven't seen her defend the title since WrestleMania. I don't know exactly what they're doing with her other than having her in backstage segments for a few minutes, if even. I think they need to do a much better job with her. But I think the perfect person to dethrone Io Sky for that Women's World Championship is Stephanie Vaquer. This is one where I don't know how confident I am in this because she just got called up from NXT. Obviously, she's super young. They might throw her into the Intercontinental title picture, but pretty much that right now, we're also going to get into that. That's pretty swamped. I don't think she can really fit in there right now. Obviously, a lot of people want to see Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer again. That's obviously a dream match. We saw it play out on an episode of Raw. It was a great match. Got interrupted by Roxanne and Julia. So obviously, we want to see the entire match. We want to see, the winner. Who can win that match? I think Io Sky dropping it to Stephanie Vaquer just makes sense. And they could do this by having Stephanie win the Queen of the Ring tournament and then go on to face Io Sky at SummerSlam. That is currently my prediction. Go watch that video. But I would love to see this. Even if she doesn't win Queen of the Ring, I would just love to see this match at SummerSlam and Stephanie win the title. Moving on to the next champion on the list, it is the Women's United States Champion, and that is Zelina Vega. Now, I did correctly predict that she would be the one to dethrone Chelsea Green before WrestleMania when I made the other video. Now the question is, who will be the one to take the title off of Zelina Vega? I think this one's one of the more easier ones to predict. I think it has to be Julia. Julia, in my opinion, just makes the most sense. If we're looking at how things are going with the women's midcard right now, Zelina Vega, she just gets no reactions. I'm not saying that's necessarily her fault, but she's not getting any crowd reactions. I just don't think that her reign as champion has been too good. She's really only been feuding with Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, which is just getting so boring at this point. It just makes me want to turn off the TV every time. We need new things for that title to help elevate it, and I think that Julia is the perfect candidate to help elevate that title. She obviously just recently got called up from NXT, so she obviously didn't win Money in the Bank. So what's the next best thing for her at this time? And that is the mid-card title on SmackDown. I think that she should be the one to win that title so that fans can really invest in Julia like they have in Stephanie Vaquer, because I don't think Julia is quite at the level of Stephanie Vaquer. So I would love to see her be the one to take this title and really take it to new heights. The next champion we're going to be talking about is the Women's Intercontinental Champion, and that is the man Becky Lynch. I predicted that she would be the one to take the title off of Lara Valkyria before WrestleMania predictions. This was actually before she even returned or took out Bayley. So I want to give myself a pat on the back for that one. I can't believe I predicted that one. I think a lot of people would have said Bayley or somebody else, but I did say Becky Lynch. Now the question is, who dethrones Becky Lynch for the title? Does it go back to Lara Valkyria? I don't think so. I think they've done a good job with Lara. I don't think she needs to get that title back immediately. I think that would be kind of stupid. So I think that Bayley should be the one to take the title from Becky Lynch. I'm assuming that they're going to do that triple threat match between Becky, Bayley, and Lyra, probably at Evolution, the all-women's PLE that is coming up in a month. That would make the most sense. That would be an absolute banger of a match. And I would like to see Bayley win the title from Becky Lynch. Maybe they don't do it. Maybe Becky does retain there. Maybe we get a singles match at SummerSlam between Becky and Bayley. I'm not too sure. But I think as of right now, Bayley is the only one that makes sense to take the title off of Becky Lynch. Obviously, it could be Lara Valkyria, but I would prefer Bayley just because I want to see her win this Women's Intercontinental Championship for the very first time. Okay, now let's move over to the tag division with the first tag team on here being the Street Profits over on SmackDown. Props to WWE. They've done an excellent job of booking the SmackDown tag division. It's been hectic for a while now, and I've just been loving all the tension, all the drama between all the teams that has been going on. This is another one that's kind of hard to predict. Uh, Before WrestleMania, I did say that it would end up being pretty deadly. Now it doesn't seem like that's going to happen because we haven't seen Pretty Deadly in a while now, which is a little bit of a bummer. They're a fun tag team. So now I'm starting to think a little more outside the box. I'm not really thinking about teams like DIY or Motor City Machine Guns, right? I'm thinking more Wyatt 6. I think the Wyatt 6 are going to be the tag team to take the titles from the Street Profits because they obviously just made their return after being out for months and they've been inserted into this tag division causing that drama. So I think it would only make sense to put the tag titles on them. I think it would be Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy. I'm not too sure. I don't think it would be Rowan. I think Eric Rowan's more of the enforcer of the group, and I think obviously Bo Dallas is the leader. I don't think Bo Dallas is going to be in the tag division, so I think it will be Gacy and Lumis. And I would absolutely love this. I think this is what the Wyatt Six need. They need something fresh, something different, because what they were doing in their first run just wasn't that interesting. So I think this can definitely help them. So I do think that they will be the one to take the title from the Street Profits. Now moving over to the Monday Night Raw WWE Tag World Titles, this was probably the most difficult one to predict because that Raw Tag division just isn't good. They don't do a good job of building it. The New Day's title reign has sucked. I don't know what they can really do at this point, but something crazy that I have been seeing rumored on Twitter is an Usos reunion. So I have the Usos defeating the New Day to become the next tag team champions. I think a lot of people are going to not like that because Jay has obviously been thriving as a single superstar. He's selling all the shirts. He's the most over with the crowd. Maybe not the IWC, but definitely with the crowd. So I don't know if they're going to put him back in the tag division because, what does that do? Do they get rid of his theme song? Right? You know what I mean? I don't know exactly what that would look like. I would like to see a reunion from the Usos because they are probably my favorite tag team of all time. So it would really be cool to see a reunion. And they could definitely help out that Raw tag division. And just thinking about getting the Usos versus the New Day one more time, absolute classic rivalry. So many good matches in the 2010s. So I would love to see them have another one, maybe at SummerSlam. I think that's the only way those tag titles get onto a PLE like SummerSlam is if they do the Usos versus the New Day. In my opinion, no other tag team is worthy of getting that match on SummerSlam. So I would love to see this and see the Usos reunite and win the tag titles. And finally, that takes us to the last championship on this list, and that is the Women's Tag Team Championships, which are currently being held by Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. They are now 4-time tag team champions, and this title reign has not been too good. They just have not defended the title. I don't think they've defended it once, more than once. It's been pretty bad, and in general, the tag division is pretty awful right now. There's just no tag teams other than Kyrie and Io, but Io is the world champ. It seems like Kyrie's getting more of a singles push, so I don't think that they're going to be in the discussion. I initially said that they would be the ones to take the titles from Liv and Raquel. Actually, I did say it would be Kyrie and Asuka. Asuka is returning, so I guess that is still a possibility. But I have a crazy prediction for who I think will take the titles off of Liv and Raquel. Obviously, we just saw Nikki Bella pop up on Monday Night Raw for the first time since the Royal Rumble. She cut a promo. She was interrupted by Liv Morgan. We're all assuming it's going to be Liv versus Nikki at Evolution, which, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. I would love to see that. But I think WWE might go down with a different storyline, and that is a returning Brie Bella to reunite the Bella twins in WWE. And I think that they will have a tag match at Evolution for those titles, and I think the Bella twins will take the titles off of Liv and Raquel to finally win those tag team championships that they've never won. Obviously, they've been a tag team for over a decade, right? Back in the Divas era, they didn't have those titles. And ever since they've been introduced, Nikki and Brie, they haven't been in WWE at the same time. So this would be a pretty big thing, right? Obviously, they helped pave the way, and them winning those titles for the first time at a PLE like Evolution would be pretty sick to see. So I'm going to go with the Bellas. Alright guys, that's going to do it for today's video. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Don't forget to comment down below what videos you want to see from me in the future. Alright guys, peace.